As we begin with extreme weather hitting much of the country tonight.
That's right. A winter storm has left millions without power and amid record-breaking cold temperatures. Snow blanketing Texas, and tonight wind chill warnings from Mexico all the way up to the Canadian border. But it is definitely not over just yet. A second storm is now closing in, and not only is it expected to impact parts of the south, but also the northeast this time around as well.
NewsNation's chief meteorologist Albert Ramon is tracking the very latest for us. Tom Negevin is out on the East Coast tonight, but we begin with Marky Martin in Texas with an update.
You know, Texas is now in the thick of the second round of this winter weather system. More snow, more ice, compounding on top of what was already crippling conditions across the state. And extraordinary outages are continuing here. More than 4 million Texans waking up this morning without power. And the storm isn't just happening here. Much of the country is buried in snow right now. And this system now taking a grim and deadly turn. Another troubling 24 hours in Texas.
This is going to be a trying time for our community. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. We need people to take care of each other.
More than 4 million waking up in the dark on Tuesday as power outages and controlled outages continue across the region.
Here it is 6 o'clock. 10 degrees and 41 in the house.
Governor Greg Abbott launching an investigation into ERCOT, the agency that controls the state's power grid. Houston's mayor calling the blackout a statewide system failure, now impacting lives.
Especially critical care customers, seniors, and children, that they need their power restored, quite frankly, yesterday.
Small towns in the heart of Texas, like Abilene, going on hour 40 without running water.
The state of Texas cannot send us water. They don't have the resources to do that right now for all the same reasons that we're struggling.
And it's a rush for farmers across the region to get their prized cattle out of the cold. The lucky ones finding refuge inside, drying in front of heaters.
Just bring their core temperature back up and put them back on mama as quick as possible.
In total, this week's winter weather taking the lives of 15 Americans across the country. Panic setting in for many. Take a look at this grocery line forming outside of an H-E-B supermarket. Shoppers as far as the eye can see, waiting in the snow. Essentials flying off the shelves as more Americans prepare to be stuck at home. 73% of the country now has snow on the ground. In Alabama, this drone video showing the few cars braving icy roads. In Nashville, many locals not clocking in anytime soon as they brace for even more inclement weather.
Oh, definitely. If this is how it is right now and we're supposed to get 2 more days worth of it, I don't see us being open again for a little bit.
But many also looking for the silver linings. In Camden, Arkansas,
we got the best chief ever.
The police chief taking members of his staff for a little snow day sled. And in Edmond, Oklahoma, it's ingenuity at its finest. Front yard chores calling for a homemade snowplow. And no shortage of these videos, but still fun to see. San Antonio, typically known for its hellish heat, now home to the latest ski at your own risk resort. Now, according to the National Weather Service, this round of winter weather is poised to bring even more snow and more ice into the southern plains into the evening, and then affect places over on the East Coast by Thursday and Friday. And I know Nancy Liu is on assignment in Alaska right now. Just for perspective here, in Dallas, it is colder right now than in Juneau, Alaska. Reporting in Dallas tonight, Marky Martin, NewsNation.
Marky, thank you. And now to the northeast, bracing for even more snow. A wintry mix expected to hit later this week. And NewsNation's Tom Negevin is live for us tonight in New York with the very latest. Tom.
You know, and what a story Marky just brought us, Marnie. This very, very minor in comparison, but still thousands of people in New York and New Jersey waking up without power this morning thanks to the weather, to a combination of sleet and rain, and they're getting ready for more to come. In upstate New York, a thick, wintry mix bringing down power lines.
Yeah, this is the most snow we had in a long time.
In Chicago, roofs are coming down, a lot of them under the weight of heavy snow. The expressway into the city's downtown, a whiteout overnight, drivers getting stuck.
I'm tired of snow. I've been tired of snow for the last 2 weeks.
Downtown Cleveland, a winter wonderland. Across parts of Ohio, some feared the snow would never stop. States where it hasn't hit yet are getting ready for it. Connecticut and Rhode Island facing a shortage of road salt. There are rolling power outages in parts of Missouri.
And we'll be transporting people to warming stations.
Kentucky's governor calling out the National Guard as thousands prepare to spend another night in the dark.
The building has trees on it out there, and we just don't have any power and no heat.
And it's moving this way. As of right now, it's estimated 75% of the lower 48 states are snow covered at the moment, and the storm system having an impact on distribution of the COVID vaccine right now. Georgia, the latest state to delay shots because the storm delayed shipments. Live in New York, Tom Negavan, NewsNation.
Tom, thank you. And the extreme winter blast has left millions of people without power. This is a look at power outages from across the country. In Texas, more than 4 million customers lost electricity. Other states severely impacted include Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. And some are blaming frozen wind turbines for contributing to the energy emergency and worry that we aren't prepared for future extreme weather events. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, in 2019, Texas had more wind capacity than any other state, and wind power accounts for about 25% of electricity production. But proponents of clean energy argue wind is just one factor in a system that rules multiple sources, including solar gas and natural gas. John Hensley joins us now. He is with American Clean Power. John, appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So, to your knowledge, what was the source of the energy overload that we have seen in Texas this week with all of this extreme weather and the ice? Was it from wind power, as some say?
Yeah, so this really is a once-in-a-generation event, and really Texas infrastructure isn't quite capable or really designed to deal with this type of cold weather. Just think about the homes, water lines, transportation infrastructure, and even the power plants. They're just really not built for these extreme cold temperatures that we've seen. And as a result, all of Texas infrastructure is really under stress, including these energy resources. But primarily, it's been the thermal plants that are at most risk here, and that we've seen most of those outages on the electric system come from primarily natural gas facilities that aren't able to source natural gas. They've had problems with pipes freezing, and they haven't been able to generate electricity and deliver it to customers.
So multiple factors contributed to what we saw this week. But what this has done, it has reignited the debate over clean energy across the country. And some are questioning the limitations of our solar energy, wind energy, and whether or not it is a reliable source. What do you say to those critics?
Yeah, I think unfortunately this is being used as an opportunity to talk about the weaknesses of renewable energy resources when, this has been primarily a thermal energy problem. Wind and solar resources have operated at grid operators' expectation throughout this entire crisis. And frankly, most of the power that the grid operator expected to be online in terms of these extreme weather events during peak capacity hours is thermal plants. So unfortunately, I think the fingers are being pointed in the wrong direction. However, on the bright side, as we move to this clean energy future that we're all moving towards, renewables are certainly going to be a big part of the mix. And whether it's the geographic diversification from renewables across the country and in many parts of Texas itself, to balancing wind and solar resources with energy storage, renewables are committed to bringing a resilient grid that's capable of withstanding events like this.
But John, where is the sweet spot? Because we're years away from fully relying on clean energy to power the grid. So how can we find a compromise right now with what we have available and trying to move to some of these cleaner sources?
Yeah, I think some grid operators have already shown it works. In the market to the north of Texas, SPP, they regularly have wind supply more than 50% of the energy on that system. And in fact, in all of 2019, wind was over 30% of the electricity mix and was the number one resource in that market. So we've got some empirical evidence to show that that wind and renewable energy resources are capable of delivering these high rates of electricity in the markets. And going forward, it's going to take a combination of multiple resources, more wind, more solar, pair it with energy storage, and then bring transmission into the picture as well. When it's really cold in Texas, you can bring in solar from the west or wind from the Rocky Mountain states or other areas that don't necessarily need that power, and ship it down to Texas or other parts of the country that are going through these extreme events, and help those grid operators balance with resources around the country.
Finally, John, what can you say to people who are uncertain about the future, who lost power in this big storm, when the next major extreme weather event happens, how we as a nation are prepared to handle it so that people aren't left in the dark and the cold?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously something we all want to avoid. We want to ensure that power is continuing to be delivered to customers. We don't want folks to have to go without power, without the ability to heat their homes during these cold winter nights. And renewables are here to be part of that solution. You know, we want to be a major generation resource on the grid, and pairing a good mix of renewables, wind, solar, plus energy storage. And again, bringing in that transmission piece to ensure that the grid is more resilient and reliable is all part of the solution here, and we're working to make that happen.
Well, a lot of facets to this debate. John Hensley, we appreciate your time, an important discussion we will all continue to follow closely. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And do want to update you tonight. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is now calling on the state legislature to investigate ERCOT. He is asking the corporation's board members to resign. And here is Governor Abbott in an interview with a local TV station in Houston just earlier tonight.
Do you think ERCOT leadership needs to resign?
Yes.
Why? They just failed? You feel they failed?
This was a total failure by ERCOT because it's ERCOT that is responsible for ensuring that. So ERCOT stands for Electric Reliability Council of Texas, and they showed that they were not reliable. These are experts. These are engineers in the power industry. These aren't bureaucrats or whatever the case may be. These are specialists. And government has to rely upon these specialists to be able to deliver in these types of situations.
And the situation continues to get worse. Albert just informed us about 60% of Austin's population now without power. That's about 500,000 people. Now, ERCOT manages a single power grid that covers nearly the entire state, and it is free from oversight of the federal government. ERCOT has not released a statement since yesterday, and in that statement, officials said that they have restored power to 500,000 households, and they are working to restore the electric system to normal operations.
Well, the snow and freezing temperatures across much of the country are causing an uptick in frostbite cases at some hospitals, with one in Colorado treating dozens of cases in just a 2-day span. NewsNation reporter Kagan Harsup spoke with doctors and frostbite patients themselves about the condition.
Doctors inside UC Health's Burn and Frostbite Center have seen just about every frostbite injury you could imagine.
At the time, they were just really purple.
It's a burning, very, very severe pain that they just can't get around.
But one thing they'd never seen is a weekend like the one we just experienced.
In my entire career, I have never seen this many in 2 days. And I came here from Minnesota, so I'm used to seeing cold.
Dr. Ann Wagner is the medical director of the center, which saw 26 new frostbite patients this weekend alone.
We've had the same number over the last 48 hours that we average in an entire year.
And most are suffering from 3rd and 4th degree frostbite. More than half will likely end up with amputations.
I had ski gloves on and 2 jackets, a beanie cap.
Scott Lufkin feels fortunate. He experienced just minor frostbite this weekend while working his part-time job unloading lumber at Home Depot. But if this is a minor case,
they're quite painful. The blisters are pretty big.
Lufkin never wants to experience a 3rd or 4th degree burn like the ones that Alec Grimes survived in 2016.
Only one of the scariest, more traumatic things in my life.
Grimes had to learn how to walk again and feels fortunate to still have his feet. He now collects winter gear for the many homeless frostbite patients at UC Health.
We had a gentleman come to us today that both his shoes and his socks were frozen to his feet. that was homeless because he got him wet and then it was so cold out that they froze.
A weekend for the record books, and one as dangerous as they come. Kagan Harsha, News Nation.
Well, and Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon is with us. Albert, as hard and difficult as the cold is to deal with, just moments ago you were talking to us in a commercial break about the next challenge for folks, especially in a state like Texas when it starts to thaw out, the potential for pipes bursting.
Power crisis now, temperatures go above freezing, and then we start to have a water crisis. And there are communities in Texas that are either under water boil notice or no water at all. And that situation may get aggravated, actually, as the temperatures again recover above freezing. And another storm system on the map tonight. It's moving through North Texas, Oklahoma with snow, freezing rain coming in out of West Texas into Central Texas. Marnie mentioned now about 500,000 customers in the Austin area without power, about 60% of the people that are a part of Austin Energy, and another swath of freezing rain headed in right now. So it's insult to injury, and additional winter weather is expected even on Thursday. So winter storm warnings are in effect right now. South Texas extending into western areas of Tennessee, central Tennessee, all the way to New England with a winter storm watch in effect. Same system is going to be producing ice and several inches of snow from Texas and New England over the next few days. And on top of that, same system could kick up severe weather. So tomorrow afternoon and evening, a severe weather threat, including in New Orleans and Mobile, Alabama. It's a 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. Isolated tornadoes as well as thunderstorms producing damaging wind and hail will all be a threat. There's a look at the weather map. It's busy. System in the morning in Texas, and by tomorrow evening it's in the Northeast, spreading wintry mix and snow. Multiple inches of snow. Again, 6+ inches of snowfall from Oklahoma into portions of the Northeast and New England. That extends again into Thursday. Something we'll be watching in the days to come, Rob.